Mookie leading off and whatever.
I was just about to say.
I'm frustrated with the whole lineup, and certain guys might be able to be pitched around. I feel like you got to get you have to get Mookie within 2 spots of JD. So if you bump JD up to third or whatever, he was 4th tonight. So I don't know. I don't know, but I was a little underwhelmed, with today's trade, or last night's, whatever you want to call it. But I don't think we solved a lot. And all we did in April, May, June was talk about how we thought that Bradley was going to get traded. And even if all 3 of us didn't agree with that, there was a lot of talk of it, throughout the fan base. And the same was said with Swihart. And lo and behold, where it's technically August 1st this very minute, and they're still here. So, I don't know, and it'll get discussed, if we go into the playoffs and we can't hit good pitching. So who have we hit? We kind of hit Verlander. I don't remember how many runs.
Scherzer.
He gave up. Scherzer, true, but we've had his number.
No, we didn't even hit Scherzer. Porcello had all 3 runs.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and we're not going to deal with him anyway until the World Series. Well, we're not.
And they're not making the playoffs. So.
Right. So
they're not. Yeah.
Exactly. So.
Well, here's my thing on the pitching. I mean, the hitting good pitching is that we should not be relying on 7, 8, 9. And I think that's the big thing that a lot of people are missing is that 1 through 5 needs to step it up, not 7, 8, 9. And Pierce really helps against lefties. He's a legitimate power hitter against lefties. He's batting .354 against lefties and 65 at bats. And on the year, he's been good against lefties. I mean, in his career, he's been good against lefties to begin with. So against a lefty, he is a legitimate 4 or 5 hitter. But obviously, if we shake the lineups about a little bit better, you want 5. But just like tonight and just like yesterday, I want 1 through 5 hitting. And 7, 8, 9 is a bonus, especially when you have guys like Jackie and Swihart and Sandy who are defensive. And every team has defensive players. You look at Buxton out in center in Minnesota. Is he still there?
Yeah,
Minnesota and Castro when he's healthy catching.
That's where it was. Yeah, Castro. I always flip-flop them. I mean, Buxton is a shitty hitter, and he's not going to be ever a good hitter. But he is, untouchable in a lot of people's books. And why? Because of defense. Castro is such a bad hitter, but makes the world go round because he can call a game, and he's great at defense. So 7, 8, 9s, that's defense. 1 through 5 needs to hit. And in the playoffs, that's going to be on them. If we struggle like we did in the last 2 games, specifically if you look at that because we played high caliber pitching, go look at 1 through 5. They were awful. You look at Mookie Betts tonight, coming off the bench. Unacceptable.
Not a good AB.
What was it a week ago? First and second with 1 out, and he grounds into an ending double play to end the game. Unacceptable. I mean, J.D. Martinez has been great, but can't go 1 for 4 against good pitching. And the list goes on and on. Benintendi, 1 for 9 this series, and a bonehead play at third. So 1 through 5 needs to hit, and if we have a bigger problem if we go into the ALDS and we're going into game 3 and we're down 0-2, and it's because we've scored 2 runs in 2 games. It's not 7, 8, 9's fault. It's 1 through 5, and I feel as though 7, 8, 9 becomes completely irrelevant to that conversation. If we're scoring 4 runs and they're 0 for 13 down there, it's a different story. But right now, the tale of the Red Sox the last couple of years and this year as well, the top of the lineup does not hit starting pitching, period. Good starting pitching. And that needs to change before anything else.
Yeah, I mean, in general, but you do need nights like last night where it was the bottom part that essentially won you the game. I mean, they do still have to do their jobs at certain points.
Oh, yeah, of course, you need the whole team effort, but at the end of the day, 7, 8, 9 shouldn't carry. Like the Cleveland series in 2016, 7, 8, 9 carried us. That's unacceptable. In my book, it is anyway.
Yeah, and who else have we hit though? Just to cap off this segment, we hit Snell pretty good a couple of times. I don't.
Did we hit any of the Braves? Not that I can remember.
Did we hit the Braves? Austin, you got the good questions. I don't know actually.
I don't remember.
Go back and look. Do we count like the bullpens or no? I'm assuming no, right? If Newcomb went through 7 innings when we blew him up in the 8th, I don't think that really counts. But no, we struggle against Severino, we struggle against Sabathia, we struggle against in Houston. I think that was a good series, right? Where we kind of struggled a little bit. We won on more pitching than hitting, and that's just how it. Mania, we struggled against this year in Oakland. We struggled against Oakland in general.
Yeah.
You know, we joked about that. I mean, would we struggle against a guy like Lester? Yes. Would we struggle against a guy like Chris Archer? Probably not. And we haven't in the past. So, yeah, I think just the overall, the team, the top half of the order needs to come to play in the playoffs and against good pitching. And so far they haven't. And, last podcast we said, this week coming up is going to be big for us, right? Because we have Phillies and Yankees, two teams that are at the top of their divisions. Philly is up by one game technically, and New York is the second best team in baseball. So if we can't hit these next 6 games, that's an issue. The top 5 anyway. That's a really big issue.
Yeah. Well, we got what we asked for out of the series. I mean, we knew that we were going to either get swept or win one game. We didn't even think 2 games was even a question, and they made a game out of both games. So
no, not upset with the result at all. But when it comes to nitpicking the team, obviously
right.
you have to.
We have to.
You have to. And if you look at what went wrong this series, it was the top half of the lineup didn't hit, and we couldn't get the big hit. Something that has been kind of, when we go on our mini slumps in quotations, because we have 75 wins, it's like we go 16-16 for a 30-game run, 31-game run, 32-game run, whatever it is. It's like, oh, wow, we left 10 guys on base in scoring position. That's not good. Something like that. So, it's all got to come together at once, but it would be nice to see it against really good pitching. Now you have to take care of the bad teams, and the Yankees are a victim of that, where they don't take care of the bad teams, and that's why they're 5 games behind us and not 5 games in front.
Right, and speaking of the assholes, the Yankees, let's just go ahead and dive right into that. No, wrong window.
Do we want to talk about Brian Cashman's kind of stupid comments, I guess, today?
Oh, go ahead.
Said about the Red Sox?
I'm not aware of those, so by all means, enlighten me.
So, more or less, to sum it up, too long didn't read. He basically said that the Yankees are one of the only teams that have roughed up the Red Sox this year and scored some runs on them and beat them. And it looks like no other teams can really do it. And it's funny he said that because in the season set, I think they've won 1 more game than us, and they played 6 home games, more home games than us. So, kind of bold statement to come out and say when you're 1 game up in the season series and you've had the majority at home.
And when you can't beat the Orioles.
And when you can't beat the Orioles. And when you can't beat Tampa Bay, who, I guess isn't anything to laugh at, but still.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, and he could be singing a different tune at the end of the week here. You know what that reminds me of? I think it was the season after we won the World Series. It was the spring training or whatever. We were playing the Marlins down at their complex, and it was an away game for us. And I guess it's a bit of a drive to theirs from Fort Myers. And they were trying to sell tickets that day. Not that they ever can, preseason or regular season, but they were kind of trying to hype up the fact that the world champion Red Sox were coming to town, and apparently the Red Sox decided to send all the minor leaguers and all the the big shots, Big Papi and everyone, Pedroia, everyone stayed back at Fort Myers, and the Marlins ownership got pissed and said the Red Sox should be ashamed of themselves for the lineup that they sent to us today. And then John Henry fires back. He goes, well, you guys should apologize for your regular season lineup that you put out, every year.
It's a great point.
It was just funny.
Back to Cashman, this is the same guy that called us the Golden State Warriors less than 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and now he's talking different. We didn't have that much better of a team than them back then. He was just trying to kind of hype his team up a little bit. And now he's making these comments.
Yeah. It's classic Cashman. I have the full quote here. It's, you wonder what their record would be if they weren't playing us. Because when we go head-to-head, we do some damage against them, and it doesn't seem like anybody else is capable.
Yeah, I mean, in a way that can kind of be a compliment as well, because he's kind of admitting that we're good, but he clearly thinks, they're better. But I don't know. I just wish we could hit lefties, because then we would tune up Sabathia a little bit, and Severino's not pitching well, so there's an opportunity to do a little bit of damage there as well, especially where
he's on the DL, isn't he? Too, right?
Severino.
No.
Oh, he's off.
It was a hoax.
Oh, that's right. Forgot about that. Well, he should be on the DL. He needs a break.
Yeah.
Also, well, we'll go game by game at this point, I guess. To start the series, now we'll beat CC Sabathia against Brian Johnson. So, pair of lefties. Sabathia, yeah, his ERA is over 4, so he's been scuffling a little bit. My computer's
I have 3.53 right here.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I have 3.53 as well.
Okay, my bad. Oh, I have that in the... Oh, that is the regular season one. Okay, I don't know how to work a computer. Okay.
His last 3 starts, though, have been 2, 4, and 5. So, giving up some runs.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is then. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Hopefully we're catching them at the right time. I was a little worried with the Twins because Lynn had good recent numbers, so did Oda Rizzi, and I want to say one more. So maybe we're getting a little bit of the opposite here, but it would be very encouraging if the Red Sox could do a little bit of damage here, just for the simple fact that he has owned us for the last year and a half. So eventually we need to start figuring these guys out. And like I said, Johnson's a bit of a wild card because they're a lefty hitting team, but who knows? It's a hard game to predict because of the past record against them, but also their recent trends against other teams. So I don't know. How do you guys see this series going? First game, excuse me.
Well, I see the series going 2-2, and I see this game going to the Yankees just because we haven't proven we can hit Sabathia, and Johnson is a wild card. He's pitched really well, but he's a wild card at the end of the day. And I mean, you'll see a lot of Steve Pearce this series, so that's encouraging to see what he can do against good lefty pitching that you'll probably see in the playoffs. But I think you got to give it to the Yankees here just out of pure history, recent history.
Yeah, and anybody but Moreland.
CC owns us, so I mean,
yeah, he does.
Pretty plain and simple.
Yeah,
there's not much to say other than that. I mean, I hope BJ has an awesome start. It would be awesome for him to go out there and show the Red Sox even more so that he deserves to be in this rotation. Which at this point, I think he does. Like, he deserves to be that 5 starter, but I just need one statement game from him, and this would be nice if it was, but I don't think it's going to be.
Well, if it does go his way and, he pitches 5-6 strong innings, then, it could be a huge confidence boost, going forward. So we'll see. And good point, Dave. You will see Pierce a lot, and maybe that can provide some spark because we're definitely not getting it from Mitch Moreland. So,
no, definitely not.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Game 2 might be a little. Well, who knows? Severino versus Porcello. I do know Severino for the month of July has a 9.98 ERA, and he really hasn't looked good since he last faced us. That was his last real dominant start, and he's kind of slipped out of the Cy Young conversation, I would say, at this point.
Yeah. Oh, big time. I mean, in the month of July, his ERA is a 6.58. He's doing what Chris Sale did last year to himself, where he had the Cy Young 1, and then August, September came around and Kluber outpitched him. And it's happening opposite now, where Sale has outpitched Severino for the Cy Young. I think even with Sale, as long as Sale doesn't miss like 5 starts, if he misses 1 or 2, it's not a big deal. But Severino's kind of pitched himself out of that conversation. Sale's pitched himself in. I actually give the Red Sox this game. I think Porcello's going to have a good game, and I don't see why Severino would turn it around on the road against the Red Sox.
Excellent. I mean, we made the comment about Severino's innings workload. It was the most innings pitched at this point in the season in his career. I mean, we saw the same thing exactly like Dave said with Chris Sale. So workload plus this. I mean, I don't think that there's any way that they actually lose this game because I don't see Severino having a good start.
That's interesting, that he has pitched the most because he's kind of young, so you'd think they would be mindful of that. I think this is really his second full season.
They're Strasburging him, basically.
Yeah.
They're not mining his innings like they should Like, the Nationals did it for 1 year, and they shut him down for the playoffs and the postseason when they could really use him. The Yankees are just going to let Severino just go. They're just going to let